What role did international trade play in the outbreak of the American Civil War? I think this is for week 16, by the way. Alright, although we tend to view the Civil War in terms of morality and slavery, there was more to it. International trade played a big role in the development which led to the Civil War. Trade disputes within the textile industry played a role in the burgeoning of the abolitionists. British investments drove the South to rely upon cotton, and industrialization of cotton trade led to inhumane treatment of slaves and helped bring about the abolitionist movement. Point 1. Trade disputes on the textile industry played a role in burgeoning the abolitionist movement. Point 1. Never mind, I didn't mean to say that. International trade played a big role for products such as cotton. It was very competitive with European products such as wool. William Wilberforce was the spokesperson for Great Britain during the cotton and wool battle. Many early abolitionists were connected to the wool industry and became aware of the slave abuse to create cotton. The Baptists, who are morally motivated, and the bootleggers, who are financially motivated, ended up in partnerships to play a huge role in history changes. In early 1990, the Choctaw Nation hired Jack Abramoff to keep gambling legal, because when they kept it legal, they were the only places that were actually legal to have gambling allowed. So they wanted to keep it there to have a monopoly and make lots of money. So they gave him $85 million to keep it legal. So we went to places like Christian Coalition and Focus on the Family. He eventually got caught and went to jail. A quote by B.K. Bangarch says, William Wilberforce operates as the official parliamentary spokesperson for the wool industry. Point 2. British investments drove the South to rely upon cotton. Abolition of slavery in Britain made production cost of cotton in the West skyrocket. Soon it became the biggest cotton supplier in the world. Because slavery offered such a competitive advantage in the world markets, Southerners abandoned other crops and focused solely on cotton, making the whole economy depend on it. With slavery legal in Britain, the money invested in cotton plantations simply moved to America instead of it being in Britain. Making slaves produce more cotton was the most important product, thus making slavery far more important than it had previously been. Cotton production went from 150,000 bales to 3.8 million bales by 1860. A quote by Brian Tumbor says, quote, "The flood of British investments in the South led to an explosion of production," end quote. Point 3. Industrialization of cotton led to inhumane treatments of slaves and helped bring about the abolitionist movement. British banks wanted to capitalize in the South from seized Native American lands and offered a cheap loan to the cotton producers. Using loan money and needing to pay off debts, plantations owned expanded land, hoping to capitalize. When Andrew Jackson kicked out all the Native Americans, that created lots of land from where he kicked them out, and they needed to fill all those lands, making a bunch of slaves have to move and work there. So they paid a premium for slaves because since cotton was so big, they need more slaves to produce it and make more money. So eventually the slaves began to rebel and kill the owners. So the owners increased their violence, in turn galvanized the public opinion against slavery. A quote by David Barry Gasper says, quote, "Incidents of punishment tended harsher than the larger, more personalized, organized plantations." So although we tend to view the Civil War in terms of morality and slavery, there was more to it. International trade played a big role in the development which led to the Civil War. Trade disputes within the textile industry played a role in burgeoning the abolitionists. British investments drove the South to rely upon cotton. Industrialization of cotton led and industrialization of cotton led to inhumane treatments of slaves and leading to slaves rebelling against the owners and helped bring about the abolitionist movement. Thank you.